Today we use a mission from the game, Conquest Last Argument of Kings, 4-hour Valour and Fortitude battle. Scoring is cumulative with 1 big and 2 small objectives. The French start with lancers on the far right, looking towards the large objective. The centre is occupied by the middle guard battalions, with cuirassiers and cannons to their left. The bulk of the French forces are split by a small grove. The British commander has placed his Prussian lancers, hussars and British infantry on his far right facing the grove. His far left consists of all his heavy cavalry, 3 Highlander battalions and cannon battery, and the small detachment of rifles occupying an overgrown vineyard. French turn 1. The French cannon start us off with a bang, as the middle guard advance upon the vineyard, with cavalry protecting both flanks. On their left they start to crest a small knoll, whilst splitting around the grove. British turn 1. British cannons, the rifles and the Highlanders all pour fire into the oncoming French brigade. The 6th Inniskillings Regiment and Prussian Dragoons charge at the French Lanciers, as the Highlander brigades that did not fire leapfrog into an advance, covered by the rifle detachment, who bravely left the safety of the vineyard. On the British far right, the sudden appearance of a mighty French host has caused a flash of confusion, and no meaningful manoeuvres are taken. In the cavalry melee, the Lanciers are easily swept aside by the Inniskillings, giving them the chance to swoop into the side of a surprised middle guard battalion who are promptly dispatched. French turn 2. The French begin with some speculative fire into the Prussian light cavalry, while the middle guard battalions hurriedly form square. The cuirassiers charge and drive off the screening rifle detachment. At the grove, the French attack columns advance down the slope, as one of the battalions takes over a sunflower field. The British begin by opening fire upon the French heavy cavalry and advancing attack columns. Then a fresh Highlander battalion charges the cuirassiers, easily driving them off and leaving the centre of the battlefield open. French turn 3 begins with the Guard artillery kicking the stuffing out of the foremost Highlander battalion. From the sunflower paddock, the French take speculative shots at the Prussian cavalry, supported by the light troops occupying the grove. Charging down the knoll, the French attack columns clash with the Prussian hussars, with support from their chasseurs et cheval, whilst more attack columns make their way to the fight. The other chasseur regiment leaves the knoll and advances over a shallow pond, towards the damaged Highlanders, who are currently facing off with a middle guard attack column. In the melee between hussars and attack columns, the hussars are easily seen off. and fall back behind their infantry support. British turn 3. All along the battleground, the roar of British cannon and muskets became deafening, taking a massive toll on the French forces. The rear Highlander battalion takes this as their cue to charge the middle guard attack column, as another chooses to occupy the overgrown vineyard. Below the knoll, the British line and Prussian lancers engaged the befuddled French. The chasseurs in the pond are caught flat-footed by Prussian dragoons. The Highlanders are ferocious in the melee, but the Guard refuse to give way. The pond becomes a grave for the chasseurs, and the dragoons overrun into the flank of the French attack columns, easily driving them off the battlefield. A second chasseur regiment finds itself outclassed and gives way to the Prussian lancers, who chase their foe to their detriment, finding themselves fighting a fresh French attack column, who easily finish off the tired and surprised cavalry. French turn 4. The light troops and cannon attempt to pick away at the British forces, to little success. The Middle Guard battalion formed a line facing the vineyard, as their heavily damaged brother battalion continues its fight versus the Highlanders. Buoyed by their victory, the French attack column advances on the British line, supported by the chasseurs and the battalion that was previously in the sunflower field. In the melee near the vineyard, the Highlanders finish off the Middle Guard, and the French learn that the British line is a much more formidable foe. British turn 4. At the vineyard, the British firepower finishes off the Middle Guard battalion. At the knoll fight, after some ineffectual fire, the British form a square to protect from the chasseurs. The melee between the British line and the French attack column proves to be murderous, but neither side gives way. French turn 5. Les Grognards. The French troops rally and get a burst of energy, as their light troops continue to provide fire support. Seeing the French in a jubilant mood, despite how brutal the combat has been, proves too much for the Prussians and British, and they abandon the battlefield on their right, isolating the troops who had formed square. British turn 5. As the square attempts to drive off the chasseurs, the British cannon begin a duel with the Guard artillery. Around the vineyard, the British forces attempt to redress their ranks, patch up the injured, and get ready to advance. French turn 6. The cannon duel continues, and the French fire proves woeful. The French commanders struggle to reorganize their depleted troops. British turn 6. The fire from the square throws the chasseurs into disarray yet again, and the vineyard forces begin to charge towards the French cannon. French turn 7. The Guard cannon bravely hold their ground, attempting to drive off the oncoming British. At the grove, the light troops look on, as the last remaining attack column charges home into the square, and shatters with the remaining troops fleeing in all directions. British turn 7. The Highlanders attempt to scare off the Guard cannon, but the Guard stays strong. Meanwhile, the remaining troops in the square shuffle together, forming a tighter perimeter. French turn 8. The French cannon shows the Highlanders what real firepower is. Yet again, the light troops watch the British square as it is attacked, only to witness the chasseurs balk at the last moment and fall back. British turn 8. The British commander declares the French cannon must be driven off, so after the Highlanders pour in some fire, the remaining Enniskillen dragoons charge in and drive the cannon crew away. French turn 9. Day à vous. Realizing the day may soon be lost, the French commander implores the chasseurs to steal the day and charge the square one more time. But the light cavalry don't have the mettle for the fight. British turn 9. The jubilant Enniskillen dragoons sweep forward, claiming an important battlefield objective. As the day draws to an end, the British control all the important points on the battlefield, thanks to the square that refused to break.